आज बिजली भी गिरवानी है, फायर भी लगवानी है, जो तू आके बेबी हमरे साथ मां आ आ आ आ के कमरिया नौजरिया कमरिया नौजरिया
Namaste and Vanakkam, and a warm welcome to each and every one of you joining us tonight, across India and from even beyond. Tonight marks a historic moment, not just for New Skin India, but for the start of something that will inspire thousands of lives across the nation. Congratulations, everyone. We have finally launched the New Skin Indian market earlier this month. And what better way to kick off this powerful new chapter with our very first session of the new entrepreneur training series, designed especially for pioneers like you who are ready to lead this movement forward. This series is more than just a training. It is about igniting belief. It is about giving you the tools, the mindset, and the momentum to build something extraordinary for yourself, for your family, and for India. And tonight, we start strong. We are deeply honored to have with us a very, very special guest. He's not just a mentor, he's not just a leader. He is the founder of the legendary Success Together worldwide system, one of the strongest global teams in New Skin, and the very system that helped create the largest number of millionaires across Asia and now India. From market launches to millionaire mindsets, from humble beginnings to helping people all over the world becoming financially free. Please join me in welcoming the man who laid the foundation we are all standing on today. Circle of Excellence for Mr. Rayne Ho.
Hello, hello. Can you all see me? Hello. Good evening, everyone. Can you all see me? Can you hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. Good. Yeah, loud and clear. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm not sure which part of the world you are coming from. Right now, I'm in China, right? Speaking to you from China. And I hope to see, I am just not sure that any one of you have just went to our this launching in India. Any one of you actually went to our India Expo, right? The Three Cities Expo. Just want to have a quick check. Did any one of you that attended our Mumbai event or Delhi event? Yeah, I think I saw many of you, right? Especially some of you from Singapore and from Malaysia. Yeah, we have some of the Indian partners that join us too. I just happened to join the two events in Mumbai and Delhi. Honestly, I was very impressed because this is the first time I traveled to India. It's really that, especially the Mumbai event was fantastic, right? In Delhi, we have a lot of people too. We have more than thousands of people that attending the expo, right? Well, a lot of people have a lot of doubts, right? Whether we are going to open in India, but I think last month we opened these Three Cities Expo, give us a lot of confidence. This is just the beginning. And of course, we just have a pre-launch in the November month. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank the crew, our team, right, that's supporting us for the daily meeting for the month of November, right? It's really not easy, especially for those of our leaders that stay up from Southeast Asia, right? We have the 9 p.m. India timing, but I think in Southeast Asia, Singapore and Malaysia, it was like 11:30. So really amazing support from our leaders from Southeast Asia to support our India partners for the month of November. Well, I think that for some of you that are from India, welcome everyone, right? That you've just probably starting on a journey. Either you are joining us as a member or you start using the product, right? So for this, the first day of the month of December, so I thought that I could be trying to Welcome every one of you on board, right? This is the second month, or officially I'll say the first month. The first month in November is not really the, the actual month, right? So I hope that you have good experience, especially starting from our product. So tonight, actually, I'm going to share about the new entrepreneur training. I think the first thing about this title is, right, why do we position as a new entrepreneur training? Even though many of you join as a brand affiliates, direct seller, right? But I think that the one of the key reason why many people who did well in the new skin business, because right at the beginning, they position themselves not as just a distributor or direct seller. I think for those people who are doing very well, right at the start, because they position themselves as entrepreneur, right? Basically, they're just partnering with new skin by leveraging on new skin as a platform to build their own business, right? So basically, they try to divert all the conventional business risk to a trustworthy platform like New Skin to absorb the risk and build a nationwide business. So I think that the positioning is very important for those of you who are just onboarding in the New Skin platform, right? I think same for me when I first started 25 years ago. I never positioned myself as a direct seller or a salesman. No, I never did that. In fact, on the first day I started on this journey, right, I have the ownership mentality. I position myself as a business owner. So that's why tonight training, right, we call it a new entrepreneur training, rather than just a direct seller. So the topic today, I'm not going to touch about product that much because, of course, for this month, right, every Monday we have different kind of topics. But I think for today, on the first day of the month, I want to start off the training for entrepreneurs in terms of the mindset. Well, I think the first thing is that first thing first, right? I believe that for those of you who are joining New Skin, right, if the products are not good, I don't believe that we will be partnering with New Skin. I think that one of the very important thing that we need to do is to create our own testimonials. So I also encourage, right, all of you to start using the New Skin product, and definitely in no time you will see a lot of difference. Like for myself, over the last 25 years, I can see from my transformation, right? I gain a lot of confidence, not just because of the opportunity is good, the complaint is good, right? The payout is good. But I think the most important thing that I believe the product works. So in order for you to have more confidence in this journey, I feel that the first thing that you need to do is to create your own testimonials, right? The testimonials is extremely important, also give you a lot of confidence. Well, in terms of how do we actually get started into the business, but before I want to touch on the know-how or what we need to do, I think the most important thing that we need to address the problem about why, right? Why are we here? Because in India today, we know that for the last 10 and 20 years, right, we're enjoying a good economic growth. A lot of trades are growing, while stock market is also growing. But the question we need to ask ourselves as New Skin come to India market, right? This is the second month we started in this market. Why do we want to partner with New Skin, right? What the end of the day you realize that what we can get? I think that's a very important question you need to ask yourself. Same for me when I first started in Singapore, right? Even though those days only like 3 million population, a small country like Singapore. So when New Skin came into Singapore, I was asking myself, right, why I want to join the business. Where do I see myself for the next 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years down the road, right? Compared to me partnering with New Skin versus a lot of other options like employment or even running my own business. So what is the difference? I think one of the key things that you need to address is why. Because only when you identify your why is strong enough, right, you were able to persist this journey. And trust me, in India, we have huge market opportunity. Even for China right now, we're open for more than 20 years, but there are still a lot of opportunities in China. So I believe that in health and beauty, for what we offer in New Skin, while we have a lot of opportunities in India, but as a pioneer leaders, that you're going to lead the team, right? Team of, I think the thousands of people, even millions of people, right? Because India is a really big market. So why are you here? Why are you joining New Skin, right? As a business partner? I think this is a very important question you need to ask yourself. So the same thing, I think it must be something relatable to you and your family, right? Who are you fighting for? And why are you fighting for? Right? What is your dream? Right? As much as you can connect your dreams and your life path with your choice of partnering with New Skin, right? You'll be more focused and more persistent to get what you want. And even though that you can evaluate at this moment of time, I'm not sure whether you are 20 years old, you are 30 years old, right? You're 40 years old, 50 years old. You need to gauge where are you right now and where do you want to go. So basically, when I first started, right, in the business, the same thing, I asked the same question. I started when I was 28 years old. I started pretty young, when I was 28. I was in the at the middle road, meaning that searching for direction. So I was asking myself, right, which path should I go to? Right. Of course, I can choose to become an employee. Like most of the people, 90% of people you apply said will choose to become an employee. Right. We think that we have a stable income, but unfortunately, you realize that sometimes as an employee, you realize that our destiny is not in our hands. We are not in control. Right. And most of the time, you realize that we may get terminated or sacked. So this is not the path that I want to pursue, especially that if you want to pursue financial freedom. Right. So of course, I talk about self-employment. In fact, my first career after I graduated from school was self-employment. And there are a lot of self-employed business around in India too, right? If you're owning a small business, they're running on their own, depending very much on yourself, right? This is called self-employed business. So my first self-employed business was in insurance. I'm not sure any one of you from India that are running insurance business like me used to be, right? Many, many years ago. So being a self-employed, I realized that very depending on my personal ability and time and efforts to make the money, right? I'm only making the labor income or direct income. So as I stopped, you realize that my income stopped. So that's how I started to look for alternative to build my passive income, right? And the third choice, of course, like in India, right, there are a lot of opportunities too, right? In fact, but I realized that in going into a conventional business, a traditional business, you can invest a lot of money, or at the same time, you realize that you can lose a lot of money too. Well, we enjoyed good economic growth for the last 10 to 20 years, but there's no guarantee that for the next 20 years that the economy will continue to go up. Or even some of the industry, as we know that, right, while you're doing well in this industry at this moment of time, and 3 to 5 years later, we have no certainty, right? But in traditional business, sometimes you realize that the risk could be very high. The investment could be very high, right? Especially if you look into something that's long-term, like 20 and 30 years down the road. So at a point of time when I'm making choices, I just find that by investing in traditional business, well, I may make a lot of money, but at the same time, right, I may bear a lot of risk. And I was 28 years old. I do not want to be be in financial trouble when I'm 50 years old or 60 years old. So I was actually looking for a solution which is low risk with high leverage, right? Because it's very difficult for you to have a low risk and high leverage. High leverage, usually you realize that it comes with high risk, right? So I'm trying to find a platform whereby there's no risk, which way there's very, very low risk, meaning that I don't need to invest a lot of money to get started. The most is I'm just investing in myself, to become better, right? But high leverage means that you realize that I can grow like 10 times, 100 times, right, without any risk. And through power of accumulation and compounding, and all my efforts, my past effort, you realize that I can right? I can continue to ride on whatever my past efforts. So as I understand about new skin business, right, I realize that this is a platform whereby I can long my profits for a long period of time as long as the company is still around. All right, as long as the company is still around. So that's why it's important for us to partner with a long-term platform. So I think the first thing that you need to ask yourself at this moment of time, as I talk, about position determines your destiny, right? Where are you right now? And how old are you right now, right? And what is the option and choices that you have? So for me, I was very clear. I was 28 years old, right? After my first career, I was looking for the next direction with no risk, or rather, very low risk. The only risk being time invested into it, right? And the next thing is you realize I want to know that it can compound over years. By the time you realize I get older and older, but I have more freedom and cash flow, right? So basically, this is how I get started, right? On the first month, I'm working very hard in the business. I got $220 sink. So basically, I'm a very good testimonial. In fact, I'm a good story for a lot of, in the new skin world, a lot of people pitch about my story, my success story, right? So basically, you realize I'm just a good testimonial of this business model, why this business model work. Right, so for the first month of income of $220 Sing dollars, right? Of course, over the last, I achieved different milestones in new skin, right? Basically, the peak, the highest milestone, I actually achieved $20 million, right, in 2012. That was almost like 13 years ago. So of course, after which you realize I continue to be able to enjoy the fruits, right, from my early days of building the business. So that's my growth path. And that's the reason why that I'm always wanting to share with a lot of people in every part of the world to let them realize that this is such a wonderful opportunity. Well, so many people ask me, right, if I'm a normal people, right, that means that I don't have any experience in direct selling or network marketing or new skin business before, right? So what are the things that I need to be aware of or something that I need to acquire? I would say that everything starts from a mindset, right? The concepts and the mindsets are extremely important. Many people want to look into like, how do I actually run the business? But I would say that, everything starts from here, right? You need to instill yourself in the right or seed yourself some important concepts and the right mindsets to get started into the business. If you don't have the right mindset, right, you are just trying to learn the skills, it's not good enough. So everything is starting from the mindset, right? So what is the key mindset that you have, right? The first thing you realize that's definitely, this is not a get rich quick scheme, right? For those of you who realize that you could have some experience before with some of the direct selling or multi-level marketing business, right, which is not sustainable, right, or it's a scam, financial scam. But over here in Nu Skin, trust me, right, we have been around for 41 years, right? Basically, you realize that what we offer over here is a long-term platform, a long-term opportunity, right? Partly because of that, because we have a very solid foundation of the product technology, they enable us to be able to have a lot of product innovation over years. So basically, I think you need to have the right mindset. We are just 1 month old, right, in India. I'm not sure how are you doing for the month of November, right? I just want to let you know, you are just a 1 month baby, right? The whole Nu Skin India is just a 1 month old baby, right? We are still very, 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 very new, right? But that's why that you need to adopt the long-term thinking. Don't expect that immediately you can have big result. It's not possible. So it will take a period of time for it to accumulate and compound, right? So the first most important thing you need to seed in yourself is about long-term thinking. But of course, right, having long-term thinking is not good enough, right? You need to have aggressive in terms of activities. Because if you're not aggressive in terms of activities, right, nothing will happen. So the reason why that we want to have a long-term thinking, because we believe in the exponential growth, right? The beautiful life and the life of freedom is only possible that we are able to achieve exponential growth or the compounding growth. And that allows us to have what? All right, to have passive income, right? So Nu Skin is a partner whereby we have a long-term mindset, right? That we took almost like 20 years to study the market, right? In the Indian market before actually we decided to invest in the market. So any market that we go into, right, for Nu Skin, we intend to build for long term, not about 3 months and 6 months, just trying our luck, right? It never, right? For all the market we go into, you realize that we have decided, we do our due diligence, do all the market survey. We know that even though that there could be some of things that, at the early stage, right, we need to clear, but there's some challenges at the beginning. For example, like people trying to adopt our brand because it's a new brand altogether, right? So people are trying to understand about our business model. So all these are challenges and doubts beginning of the stage. But no issue for Nu Skin because we realize that we actually adopted a long-term view, right? We continue to improve and innovate. So as a business partner of Nu Skin, right, we need to think long-term too. Otherwise, you will not be able to reap the long-term rewards from this platform, right? The second important mindset is about 100% duplication mentality. What does it mean? A lot of people thought that this is a direct selling business. True. To a certain extent, true, right? Because you need to share the product, right, to people. You need to acquire customers. But the most important thing that you need to have the duplication mentality, because by just retailing and selling product, you cannot be a huge network of business, right? I'll give you one example, will be franchise. I think some of you are very familiar with franchise business, right? So franchise business, you realize that by one store, right, by one franchise, you realize that there will not be a lot of big volumes per store. But if we have 100 stores or 1,000 franchisees, right, or 10,000 franchisees, and every store you got 5% or 10% of commission or income, right, you make a lot of money. So that is the reason why that you need to start to have duplication mentality. I know that many of you could be coming from different part of walks of life. You could be an employee, you could be a self-employed, you could be very creative in your own work because of the nature of the job. But in our business, you realize that in order for you to be able to scale your business, right, you need to start to understand about what duplication means, right? Duplication from you starting for yourself, duplicating yourself. How do you able to duplicate as many people to operate similarly like you. And that's how you realize your business can have predictability, right? So we want to have a business that continue to run with a constant monthly cash flow, even when we are not active in future. What does it mean? This is what I mean by predictable, right? You want to build a predictable business over time. Just like me, right? When I first started 25 years ago until today, right? And I'm able to build so many franchisee partners, right? In every part of the world by just duplicating the system, right? So when everyone start to duplicate the system, you realize it makes the business very simple, right? The second point is back to zero mentality, because once you talk about duplication, right? Every one of us come from, you could be running your own business with a lot of experience in your own traditional business. You can have your own skills, right? But I think the key thing is that coming to this business, it doesn't require you to invest a lot of money. There's no huge capital investment. But something that I find that one mindset is very tough for a lot of new people to adopt is the back to zero mentality, the back to zero mindset. So there's one example over here. In order for you to scale a higher mountain, right? You need to descend the first mountain, right? The lower you descend, the higher you will rise. I'm not sure whether you understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? Basically, you realize that back to zero allows you to be able to even leapfrog to be a higher horizon. So these are two very important concept and the mindset, I hope, right? For every one of you, if you are joining us for the first time, right? You need to start to sit into this thing, right? There's no instant millionaires from the business, because the true fact is, right? Your big results coming from accumulation and compounding. And guess what, right? India has got the most huge, the biggest population, because in our business over here, right? What is the most exciting is about people. And you have the most people in the whole world, right? So you are working in the right market for sure. And you just need to make sure that you are the right person, right? Making yourself right is very, very important. So the third thing is that what you need to do is to set goal and action. So we started off today, right, on the 1st of December, which is very good. I know that many of you probably that just registered, right, and in the month of November, you don't know what to do with it, right? It's very normal, right? Or it could be some confusion. In fact, there's some delay in terms of our product launch, right? I was expecting it because I went through a few this new market opening, right? Usually you realize that we will expect that there will be some messiness, right, at the beginning of a stage, because everything is new, right? This is very normal. So the real people who are able to pull through, right, to become the biggest winner are those people who stay together with the company, together with the leaders and the team, right, to pull through all this together. So being a pioneer, you realize that you reap the highest rewards, but again, you realize that you'll probably face more challenges, right, compared to those people who join you in the later part, maybe 10 and 20 years later, when everything is more stabilized, right? The system, everything is more established. So as a leader, right, you need to set goal, because this is the first month. This is the first day of the month, right? For the whole December, you realize that we still have 30 days. So only when you start to set goal, you realize that you're able to lead people towards the right direction. So that's why that goal and action is extremely important, right? And Nu Skin set a very clear path, right? From you becoming a BA, qualified to become a brand rep, right? And fight to become a Ruby, Blue Diamond, so that you are able to get 6 levels of 5%, right? Team Elite, and of course, at the same time, our $1 billion Cycle One members. So these are the path. So why I joined Nu Skin? Because I know that there's a clear path, right? Whichly that when I achieve certain milestone or certain pin title, right, how much expected income I will get. So there is some predictability and path. If I'm running an own business, I have a big question mark, right? I do not know where the money will come from, right? There's no path for me. But by partnering with Nu Skin as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, I feel that it makes my job become very easy. All I need to know, right, what is the volumes requirement for me to reach the next milestone and how much income I can get. Is that very simple? I think that's probably the simplest business we can do, right? So I just want to know that how do I able to qualify for brand rep? So in this case, in India, I think many of you are already very familiar, right? How are you able to qualify for brand rep? You can talk to your uplines or your coach, right, to understand about how do you able to qualify as a brand rep, so that you're able to qualify for the leadership bonus and also Ruby, Blue Diamond, and Team Elite. So in ST, right, in our system, you realize that we have this simple duplication model called 1, 2, 3. So that's why the success is as simple as duplicate 1, 2, 3, right? So what does it mean? The first step, right? Always start from yourself, right? Always start from yourself because you are the leader, right? Start using the product for yourself, right? And start qualifying for yourself. The next step, you realize that, right? You find 2 partners. The third step, you find 3 partners. By duplicating 1, 2, 3, right? You become a BR, right? A brand rep. So what you do is that basically you repeat the same thing, right? So on these 5 people, duplicate them to become a BR. So by the multiplication of 5 by 5, right, towards 6th generation, what we will get is 20,000 of brand rep. So in 1.5 billion population, right, to have 20,000 brand rep or 20,000 franchise owner, right, I don't think it's difficult for us to be able to achieve it. It's definitely possible because you have the numbers, right? So assuming that one brand rep, right, basically you realize that if one brand rep did about 2 lakhs volumes, right, per month times 5%, this is expected income, right? 15.5 lakhs per month. If we have 20,000 brand rep, right, that will be a huge income. And don't forget that, right, there's no limit. This is just a simple illustration for you to show you based on the multiplication of 5. What if you are more capable, right? You are not only 5, you have 10 by 10, right? And there's no limit of how many franchise or how many people that you can sponsor. Literally, there's no limit at all. So that's why that there's no limit towards of income potential in this business platform. As long as you realize that you're willing to work on this platform, they will continue to pay you, right? Is that simple? Right? I think this is probably the simplest business we can find. So I always tell people that, how are you able to become successful in the business? Very simple, right? The plan will work only when you work on the plan. I'm not sure whether it's confusing for you to understand, right? The plan will never work if you are not working on the plan. So this is 6th generation 5% of leadership plan is proven over time for the last 41 years, and it created the most number of millionaires in the history of network marketing through New Skin platform, right? This is the facts, right? So that's why that when you understand about 6th generation 5% is provided for you, but you need to have a path or strategy for you to be able to realize the gains of 6th generation 5%. So this duplication model has been running for more than 25 years in ST in a lot of different parts of the world, and it's proven. Last but not least, right, I think activities are extremely important. So we have the framework, we have the path, right? The next thing is that what should we do on a daily basis, right? The easiest for you to build a business, building a daily behavior, right? Daily behavior. Just like if you open a shop, I give you one example, right? If you open a shop, you invested a lot of money in opening up a shop. Do you open a shop every day or you close the shop every day? Right? How many of you will open a shop every day? Right? I think every one of us will open a shop every day, right? No, nobody will open. You realize invest in the shop, you realize that you close your shop every day. No way, right? We will open a shop every day. But unfortunately, a lot of people who started in our journey in the business, because they never position themselves as a business owner, they never open a shop. Every day the shop is closed. So if you are investing in the shop, but your shop is always closed every day, can you have business? You will never have business. It's that simple analogy, right? So even though that you do not really literally invest in a shop, but you are the shop, right? You are actually a mobile franchise. That means that you travel in every part of the city, every part of the world. You're actually literally running the business, right? You are the shop. So that's why they realize that, right? Be a super product lover, right? Use the product, right? So much that you realize that you're able to create a powerful testimonial for a shop because you are the shop front. Through your transformation story is the most impactful, right? For you to be able to influence others. So the next step is for you to become passionate sharers. And you realize that the easiest way for you to build a business is helping other people, right? By helping other people, you realize that you always get what you want. So by first thing, using the product and sharing the product, right? Passionate is very, very important. That's a foundation in our business. The second part, you realize that being an accountable builder, once you decided that you realize that you want to build this business, right? Again, you got to spend time in building this, not just using the product. Using the product is not good enough, right? Share the business opportunity and the plan. So you need to get familiar with how you're able to draw the plan, right? The 1, 2, 3, 5, 25, 1, 2, 5, right? You need to be familiar enough that you're able to duplicate the rest to do the same thing, right? Accountable means that you realize that your activities, right? That means you realize that the goal that you set, you need to be accountable for it. The third part is about being a leader, right? As a leader, you realize that what you need to do is to pursue personal growth, right? And maintain a very close alignment with your coach, your uplines, right? This is very important because, in fact, the reason why it's easier for you to become successful in this business, literally, right? You get a free coaching from experienced coaches, right? That have been building the business for a period of time. In outside, right? If you want to build any business, you realize that if you want to engage consultant, you need to pay the money. And sometimes you realize that consultant, there's no guarantee that it will work, right? They don't even have experience in building the business. They're just be a consulting, right? And they charge you money. But over here, the reason why you can become successful easier because there's no risk for you to consult or no cost for you to consult your coaches and the upline. It's free. This is the reason why you need to build the habit. Why we say the daily activity cycle. You need to build the habit proactively to reach out, right, to your coach to ask questions, right? One thing that you realize that you cannot be just, you think that it's no face for you to ask people, right, ask questions. Actually, you need to humble yourself to ask questions because if you do not understand, you need to ask. Because if you're not asking the question, right, you are not growing the business. So being a leader, you realize that personal growth is extremely important. From you are able to lead a team of 3 people to 5 people to 10 people to 30 people to 100 people to 1,000 people, right? It requires different kind of level of skills and mindset. So important that for you to maintain a close alignment with the coaches, right? At the same time, participate in products and business meeting and learn from the recordings and the tools that we are available to us, right? So that you can upgrade yourself. So the next thing, right, by equipping yourself on a personal level, then you are able to help your team members to become more effective. So these are the 3 things that you realize, well, why do I call it daily activity cycle, right? If you are able to consistently doing this for a period of time, then what you realize that not only that personally you grow, right? You have your own testimonials, you're able to share the product effectively. At the same time, you realize that you're able to become a leader, right? And you're able to duplicate the same thing towards your downlines. And that's how you realize that you will be able to have the snowball effect. So in fact, there's a note over here, right? I mentioned that we are in a people business, right? People business, you realize that leadership very important for you, right? The speed of your personal growth is directly proportional to your business. So meaning that you realize that every of the leader, right? We need to be very intentional and be aware that to grow as a leader. So personal growth is extremely important in our business. The last part, right? Last part about our business, very simple, right? I know many of you came in because you saw the opportunity to accumulate wealth. Nothing wrong with that, right? But I just want you to understand, right? With this closing, I just want you to understand that in this scheme platform, we are not just one part of wealth, money. In fact, you realize that together, right, we can create a beautiful life. In terms of physical and mental health, I think health is very important, right? Wealth and security, your personal growth, right? Family happiness and meaningful relationship. At the same time, you realize that the social values. So to over the last 25 years, right? Like for me, the same thing, I came in because I just want to make money at the beginning. But without realizing that, you realize that it completes me. That's why I say that through the new scheme platform, every one of us can achieve holistic success over here. So with that, right, I'm looking forward to see more of you, right, onboarding, for the month of December, and also looking forward to meet many of you, right, in our January LTS, our big event in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, right? Looking forward to see every one of you. And good night, everyone.
Thank you so much, Circle of Excellence 4, Mr. Rayne Ho, for lighting this path with your wisdom, energy, and global vision. I hope you are leaving tonight not just inspired, but activated. This is just the beginning. India is ready, and with leaders like you in this room, the future is already being written. Let's take what we've learned today and turn it into momentum for ourselves, our teams, and every family we are about to impact. See you at the next session. Good night, and let's build success together, India.